Hey, let's go over some Spurs news and notes. Ask if the Spurs should make a draft day deal, and then bring in our special guest, Hal Mumme, the new head coach for the San Antonio IFA football team.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs beat writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio, and I'm glad to have you back. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. By the way, everybody, I hope you're all having a great day. And look, the draft is right around the corner. Can you wait? I know I can't. We'll see what the Spurs do at 4-8. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to go over some quick Spurs news and notes, just to catch you up with some things. And then bring in our guest, or I should say guests, plural, yes. First up, we'll have Casey Viera, my colleague at Ken's 5. We're going to be discussing just overall, should the Spurs make a deal, just in general, ahead or during the NBA draft. And then bring in our special guest, Coach Hal Mumme. You're probably thinking, like, who? Well, for those of you in San Antonio who don't know, San Antonio is the home of a new football team that is part of the International Football Alliance. Now it's teams from the United States, Mexico City, just a big football league that's coming together in San Antonio. He's going to be discussing that, but he does talk about Popovich. So there is a Spur angle, his thoughts from one head coach to another head coach. So we'll be talking to him in just a few seconds. But first, your quick Spurs news and notes. And Victor Wembanyama, he recently shared his appreciation for San Antonio fans. Yes, in an interview he did with a French media outlet, he talked about living in San Antonio and the fans. And he said, first of all, that the fans are very passionate in San Antonio, but also they're not, intrusive. They're not aggressive with him when they see him out and about in San Antonio. But they took a shot at New York, my old former home, saying that he's lucky he's in San Antonio. It's not New York. So he definitely, Wemby loves the low-key vibe here in San Antonio. He appreciates Spurs fans. The Spurs fans, for the most part, have always been very respectful players, current and past. They see him, ask for an autograph, their family, they can leave him alone. So all in all, it's good. It's good. Even Coach Popovich, you stop him during the offseason in the streets and he'll take a photo with you. He's always happy to do that. So Wemby shouting out the Spurs fans, kudos to him. In other Spurs news, kind of related to Spurs news, the Hawks GM, Landry Fields, former Spur, he was asked by Atlanta media, like, okay, so what's all this stuff about moving number one, if you're maybe getting 2 picks? And he made it very clear, and this may have squashed any rumors, it's coming from him, that as of right now, the team is leaning towards, Atlanta is keeping the number 1 pick. Said they'll leave the door open a little bit to hear offers, but as of right now, today, Atlanta is going to go with the number 1 pick and not deal it. So, for those who don't know, San Antonio has been kind of involved in a lot of, moving up the draft, trading to number 4 and 8 for number 1 with Atlanta. Well, I get why they were doing that. They want to speed up the process, maybe target Sarr or Ricochet, but nevertheless, looks like Landry Fields put the kibosh on that as of now. But I said he left the door open, so it'll be interesting to see if the Spurs would make Atlanta an offer that they can't refuse. But hopefully not too much, because this is a very weak draft, and Spurs maybe should invest in next year's draft as far as being aggressive moving up that draft in 2025. In other Spurs news, speaking of Wembanyama, he recently posted pictures of himself in the gym training with Jamal Crawford. Yes, the guy who taught him a couple moves last season. So Jamal Crawford was in San Antonio at the Spurs practice facility, going one-on-one, teaching Wemby some moves. Can you imagine Wemby with Jamal Crawford handles? He has good handles already, but times 10 with Jamal Crawford and his scoring ability. That's good to see. Good to see a veteran like Jamal come to San Antonio, give Wemby some pointers. Whatever it takes to make Wemby better. If it includes bringing or Jamal Crawford coming to San Antonio and training him, I'm all about it. That catches you up with some quick Spurs news and notes. When we get back, we're going to have Casey Viera up first. We're going to be discussing just overall the Spurs should make a deal on draft day, and then bring in our guest, Coach Hal Mumme of the San Antonio's new IFA football team that's starting up next year. He's going to be discussing that and his thoughts on Gregg Popovich. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. First, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, which probably ended already, and more. But you can bet all on that on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. You heard that right. $200 in bonus bet with any winning $5 bet. You bet from everything from who's going to hit a home run, who is going to hit all the bases. There's so many things to do with that. Parlays, the projected stat line. I mean, it's just so much fun over at FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel.com/lockedon right now and get a big win for yourself on your summer bucket list. Look, I have it. You should have it too. It's intuitive, very user friendly, easy to download, easy to sign up, whether it's online, your computer, or on your cell, or whatever mobile device you got. You got to get yourself FanDuel right now. Once again, you want to visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I want to talk about Muslinger's drive-thru coffee. Right now, San Antonio, go there. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Look, you need a latte, they got it. You need a cold brew, check. Dairy alternatives, yep. Caffeinated drinks, yep. Non-caffeinated drinks, yep, they got that too. What about mini donuts? They got so much there. Their menu is so extensive. They got a friendly staff, and they're proud to be a local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud member of San Antonio, serving San Antonio the best drinks around town. Hey, they also have this thing called the Lightning Bolt series that includes the Alien, which is a drink named after Victor Wembanyama. So basically, they're drinks made to power you through your day, get you started, or keep you going. And they'll have Red Bull on hand if you want it, but the default is going to be Lotus Energy. That's 7 power plant extracts, has a similar effect as Red Bull, but again, with those 7 power plant extracts, allows you flexibility to create new drinks. But if you want Red Bull, they'll have it, but the default will be the Lotus Energy. So what more do you need? Go to Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee right now. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Follow them on social media at Muslinger SATX. Go there right now, San Antonio, because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
And we are now joined by Casey Viera. You know him, you love him. He is my colleague at Ken's 5 San Antonio, the sports anchor during the weekends. Here for the middle segment of this episode of Locked On Spurs. But we're not going to treat you like the middle child, though. How about that? We're not going to ignore you.
I am not. I'm the oldest in my family, so.
Arnett stops on the floor, throws a hissy fit.
No, I'm the oldest.
I'm the oldest too, so.
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
But everybody up. Right after Casey is Coach Hal Mumme of the San Antonio new team with the IFA. He's going to be next, but first. But think of it like that, Casey. We put you first before Coach. How's that?
I like it. Have me as
there
the
you
lead
go.
Off. Wrong sport. Of the two sports we're talking. Wrong sport for basketball or football.
Right, exactly.
But I appreciate that.
Not a problem. Make sure to follow Casey at Casey_Viera. Do that right now. So, Casey, quick chat with you before we bring on Coach. You're hearing a lot of chatter right now. Oh, Spurs targeting this, and they want to Ricochet. Oh, the Hawks are going to make a deal with the Spurs, and the Spurs vice versa, moving up to 1. This and that. Should they maybe stay there and not make? You're hearing a lot of things with the keyword of move. But if you really look at it, Casey, is it really smart to make a move in this year's draft? I mean, and I'm being generous here. Maybe outside of number 2, 3 through 10, 8, you're kind of getting the same player, not necessarily by position, but the same idea. You're just getting a contributor. You're not really going to get a home run. So at the end of the day, Casey, is it even worth it for the Spurs to even entertain the thoughts of moving up or down within this draft?
I think there's a couple lenses you look at it through. You look at it like, we have this pick, like you said, 3 through 10. Basically, everything feels like it's the same at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe we see if we can trade out of the top 10 if we feel like we can get something just as valuable as 11 that you could find at number 8. Maybe you try to move out of there, get some additional capital to it. That's one way of doing it. But as it pertains to the idea of trading them, say they pull off the Atlanta thing and they move to number one. It's like, okay, would you rather have, and of course this is going by the pessimistic lens that everyone appears to be having of this draft, would you rather have 2 average players or 1 above average player? And I think you would, 1 above average player who you like his potential of being a mainstay in this rotation. So let me say that. And I think you probably take the latter of the 2. You're not, obviously, you're not getting Victor in this draft. You're not getting a center. For all we know, you're lucky if you're, the way they're making it seem, you're lucky if you're even getting a regular starting 5 guy. But But in my opinion, if they have that 4 and 8 for 1 deal available, I think I probably do it. Because I just find more credence in putting my eggs in that basket of a guy who's a little bit above, not a gap, but a little bit above the rest, and like my chances of that potential, as opposed to using 2 picks, more money on, more money on, or comparable money on 2 separate players, more players you ultimately have to pay, especially when you already have a lot of fluidity on this roster that you have right now. And when you're bringing 1 piece in there, it's obviously enough as it is. But then you bring in 2. I think the move is if it's there, you try to trade up to number 1.
See, here's the thing for me, and again, through the lens of everybody saying this draft ain't all that. Why limit yourself to 1 pick when you get 2 bites of the apple? And I'm gonna get a guy that's gonna be pretty good, if I move up, versus hey, I can get 2 guys that can be, again, pretty good considering this is the draft. Why not do that approach, Casey? Get 2 bites of the apple versus 1.
Are we sure they're going to be pretty good though?
I mean, I'd rather take 2 shots at it than 1 shot.
But
I mean, okay, you move up to get Ricochet. You really think Ricochet can be a solid contributor right now, even though he's projected to be 1 or 2?
If they went at number 1 with Ricochet, I would expect him to be a starter.
A starter, okay, yeah, as a number 1 pick should be.
You don't take the number 1 pick and have him sit this year. This ain't the rest of the quarterback.
Redshirting him. Redshirting him. Yeah.
Quarterback. Nah, you go all in and you start him. If the definition is pretty good here, you're applied as to use your, as opposed to average. Sure, but from what it sounds like, pretty good is the peak of this draft.
That's bad.
And if you feel like you're looking at pieces 4 through 8, and you are saying, they might fit with Victor. They might. It could work. Or you're seeing number 1, seeing number 2, the guy right there, and you have the utmost confidence that they fit with Victor. I have to go that route. I got to take. I think there's more validity, especially when there's a lot of draft capital they still have to work with in the next couple. I think you got to go the route of just trading up. I do, or moving up to that number 1, number 2 spot if you feel like that guy is there to, really do exactly that.
Do you think that Sarr is the guy? I know all the signs and reports are Spurs and the kid Ricochet, but I don't see Sarr fitting because Sarr is not as flexible position-wise as Victor. You would have to displace Victor out of the 5. And I'm pretty sure he would love that, because he's always said, don't pigeonhole me as a 5. I'm not a center, but because Sarr is a 5, and that's me. I'll give him the benefit, maybe a 4, but that's about it. So
I don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, go ahead. Yeah, because I got something else going up here.
I don't take. No, I'm not in on the idea of taking Sarr if I'm going to use him. If I'm going to pick him, if I trade up and I pick him at 1 and 2, or two, right around there.
Mhm.
I don't think that should no, I don't think that should be the move. I think what we learned already from Victor this year is that when they're at their, and I don't have the metrics to prove it, so before you come and that say actually from the eye test, they're the best team. They were at their best when Victor was at the 5. So
Mhm.
you're going to take that big investment that you do have to put Victor at the 4, which the team collectively did not play as well when they did. And situations where you need to go back to 5, playing Victor at the 5, a little bit, nothing's ever small, but a little bit smaller with Victor on the floor as opposed to two bigs, then you're in a situation where you're playing your number 1 pick becomes unplayable in certain scenarios. And you can't do that with the top pick. You can't. You just can't have that happen. That's why I'm with you. I don't think Sarr is the guy. I don't. I can't invest much into something when I've seen that the best basketball that the Spurs have played aesthetically and presumably by the numbers, it involves Victor at that center spot, and I can't clog that up, especially with the number 1 pick. If Sarr somehow falls to 8 and they stand pat, I think it's worth thinking about. I don't think it's going to happen by all accounts, or what we're hearing. But if it does drop for whatever reason and fall to number 8, then I think you're thinking about it a little bit more. But at number 1, number 2,
Yeah, and we know that with as far as this rebuild, we know we have an anchor now with Wemby, and it's everything about Wemby, what fits with Wemby, who fits with Wemby, and Sarr would not fit well with Wemby. I mean, nothing wrong with having 2 7-footers that fit in the paint, but something's got to give position wise. And here's the thing too, with the thought of moving up, is that's the big chatter right now. Spurs moving up to try to get at least a target, as Ricochet is according to reports. Then he fits better. That's a fluid 4 right there that could play maybe the 3 as well. And
yeah.
French guy, it fits well. And how did the season end? Remember Mamu was just tearing it up. And what did Vic have to say? Oh, I like playing with him. He understands the Euro style. Here's a kid that's just coming out of the Euro style, just plug and play, and you should be good to go. So that would be the move. But, circling back to the topic, though, as far as just making a move on draft day, whether up or down, I see your point about moving up to try to get that guy. But what about the idea of moving down? Are you okay with that?
I am. I'm also okay with that, more so at number 8 than number 4.
So you're willing to deal, right? You're okay with dealing 8.
I'm perfectly fine with dealing 8.
Okay.
I'm fine with dealing 8 because I don't think, like you said, I don't think it's every pick from 3 to 10 appears to be very fluid, and even at very fluid does not mean you're exactly getting an elite talent. And if there's a window of even if it's like moving to 9 or falling back to 10, it doesn't have to be like an incremental thing, like a major thing. But even if it's moving back a couple spots, and you get maybe like you either get a protected first or 3 second-round picks to do it for the whatever team to move up a spot, so you can 9 or 10. I think I try my hand at that. I think so. I think I try my hand at that because it seems like in most of the, especially with a team that you have a solid chance of getting the pick, maybe a team that'll be right on the outside of that top 10, I would rather try my hand at that because the talent's just going to be better. The talent's just going to be better in the next few years. What you're going to find at number 8 in this draft, you might find at number 16, 17 in 2 years from now. I think if that deal presents itself, I believe they need to definitely consider that.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I wouldn't be surprised if the Spurs actually, do make a move for number one, but my thing is, how much does Atlanta want? I mean, is Atlanta really going to want to get those picks back, or really say, okay, well, give us 4 and 8, fine, but throw in Keldon and throw in one of those picks we gave you? Do you think Atlanta would? I think they will. I mean, that's their goal, to net the most return. But where is the line? Where would Casey Viera say, you know what, Atlanta, you're asking for too much? Are you okay with giving up 4 and 8? I think you are. Plus a player? I mean, where's the line in for you?
Well, think about it. If you do that, that probably takes you out of the Trae Young hunt.
Sure. Yes.
That is the big drawback here, is that if they do make that move, that pretty much ends your avenue to get to Trae Young, which, I mean, is not the worst thing in the world. I know.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have to give up the farm and then some, is Trae Young the guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
So basically you're thinking this scenario, you're giving up more for Trae Young or less for Rishase.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you would go the less for Rishase amount of route, and you probably have to give back at least one of the picks so they can, because they're not stupid. They know, like you said, they're trying to get the most on their return. They know not this year's draft sucks. You're gonna have to give back at least one of Atlanta's picks, which you might. We have to give Atlanta credit for where they are. We've been anticipating that they're going to bottom out, but as long as Trae Young is on that team, they're not going to be top 5 bad. So while it might be ambitious, you're looking at a scenario where you have they fall in the lottery, you have a 1% chance they get it like this year. Or you deal that pick, you give it to them back, and you take the known in Rishase right now. Plus, of course, 4 and 8. I think at minimum where it starts. If they want all back, three back,
easy up there, Atlanta.
Good. I'm good.
And the thing for me too is, like, I want those picks for next year's draft. I don't want that'd be hard for me to let go of. Hey, Atlanta, we got a bunch of second round picks. We got a bunch of
Well, see, that's the other thing too. Just like I was saying, the Spurs are going to put more credibility into potentially moving getting rid of that pick at number 8. Other teams see that too. So there's going to be other teams who are not they're not going to be willing to give them maximizing that return or even get back that first round pick if you're the Spurs, because they know it's like, okay, we'll move up, but we ain't giving you everything that we got in our kitchen cabinet. We don't care that much. But I think that takes you out of the Trae Young move, which
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's fine, but you have to have a lot of faith in what you're getting out of Rishase. That's what it comes down to. That's really just what it comes down to.
Absolutely. He is Casey Viera. Make sure to follow him at Casey_Viera. Casey, what's your final word there?
No, I was going to say we're talking Rishase, and of course this ends with them taking like Cody Williams or something like that, or Sarr.
I know, right? Or Klingon, another big. Like, okay, well, there's that.
If Klingon's there at 8,
you take him. You take him. Yes.
Yeah, if he's there at 8, if they take him with 1, I mean, we're gonna have to reevaluate the direction of this franchise, but that's not gonna happen.
You know what? At 8, I'd be okay with the Klingon. Yes, another big, but that boy is ready made. He's a big dude. He already outweighs Wemby by a mile. Yeah, and then another guy at 8, Dalton Connect. I would like for the Spurs to get that kid. That's another guy I would love to see Spurs get. Yeah, got hard. He is Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. He's covering all things locally, statewide, all that good stuff. What you going over there at Ken's 5 on the sports desk?
Bummed the Brahmas lost, but
Yeesh, they got stomped.
they did indeed lose. But hey, it's about to slow down a little bit until, with the exception of the draft and free agency, how the summer goes. But
There.
I mean, we're right there. We're a week out.
Wow, draft is right around the corner. Casey,
Mhm.
thank you for taking some time out to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Again, everybody follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Coming up next, we have Coach Hal Mumme. Yes, the new head coach of San Antonio's team, part of the IFA Football League. He's going to be discussing what to expect. What is this IFA league? What is it about? And he has a lot of kind words for Coach Gregg Popovich. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs.
What up, Doc? This is Bugs Bunny, and you are listening to my best friend, Jeff Garcia, host of Locked On Spurs.
First, I want to talk to you about eBay Motors. Drive, passion, patience, the winning formula for any winning championship, and also keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're not burning rubber. Well, you're just basically burning rubber, right? You're not going to be burning your cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car into the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Once again, that's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. And we're now joined by Coach Hal Mumme. What's going on? Yes, a pro sports team, football team is here. He is the head coach of the International Football Alliance. I'm excited for this, coach. The IFA is in San Antonio. It's international. There's a team in Mexico. So first of all, thank you for taking time out to join Locked On Spurs. We'll get your thoughts on Gregg Popovich in just a few seconds as far as his longevity. But, Coach, welcome to San Antonio. How's it feel?
Hey, well, it's great, Jeff. I was born there. It's really kind of been home to me all these years. I never went to school there, but I used to go there every summer, stay on my grandfather's farm south of town. And
yeah,
so it's always been home. My parents are from there. My whole family's from there. So it's kind of a neat deal at this point in my career.
Kind of coming full circle, isn't it?
Yeah,
Coaching
sure
now in
is.
San Antonio.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's a great place to live, obviously.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. By the way, I hope you're dealing with the heat well, because I'm not. This heat is punishing me.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It happens. Just part of South Texas. But Coach, the league. What is it about? What can you tell fans what to expect? Basically, what is going on?
It is a developmental pro football league meant to send guys to the NFL, and it's we're going to focus internationally, not just in the States. So there'll be 53 players on each team. There's going to be 5 of them that are international players. At least one of those will be from Mexico. We're going to try to get these guys a shot. The guys that is 25 years old and just needs that a little bit more film so he can get in a camp someplace. That's the idea. So it'll be a good brand of football. It'll be a good quality football. And we're going to play in the summer. We'll have training camp in May, and then we'll play in June and July. We've got 5 dates. Obviously, there'll be night games, and we're going to play at Incarnate Word. And we're just excited to give these young men a chance to get some film.
Yeah, when you hear those buzzwords like a chance, developmental,
right?
You could probably expect games to be pretty intense because these guys are going to be really putting their best foot forward for the chance to make the next leap into the NFL or whatever their life takes them.
Exactly. I've done this several times. The XFL in Arlington with Bob Stoops before the virus hit, and then after the virus hit, I did the TSL in Indianapolis, and we ended up winning the championship in that. But my biggest rival up there when I went up there was Jerry Glanville's team, and Glanville had been
Oh,
doing
wow.
it for several years. And Glanville
Yeah.
said, "How you're gonna love these guys, and you're gonna see the hardest hits you've ever seen." And he
Oh,
was
yeah.
right. Yeah, they just play hard. They're great guys to work with. There's not a lot of egos. They just want that film, and they want you to try to give them the one or two coaching points that makes them better to be able to get in a league, get in the NFL.
Absolutely. And for those of y'all who want more information about the new league that's in San Antonio, you see it on your screen right below coach's name at the IFA football. Go follow that on X. That'll give you all the information you need moving forward. Now, I'm expecting, the games once they get going, not only to be exciting, hard hitting, but I'm assuming also too, just a place where everybody can go, family, friends, like make it a good outing. What aside from what's on the field, why else should San Antonio fans go out to go support the team?
Well, we're gonna, you know, we're really believe in being a local team, and so we're going to spend our time developing the fans and developing things they want to see. Um, Youth clinics, the dancers and cheerleader clinics. We're going to have those on the sidelines for the games. We're going to have, uh, various giveaways and things like that. We want to make this a low cost event that families can go to, and to go to an NFL game at this point in time, it
Mhm.
costs you about $1,000 if you
Oh
take four
yeah,
people. We want to make this more like minor league baseball is in terms of costs. So we're going to do our best to do that, and we want to embrace the entire community, and
hmm
and especially where we're playing it in Cornet Ward. It's right there, really close to the
hmm
Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio, and so we're going to have night games, open the gates, have some local entertainers, some tailgating, and then somewhere as about the time the sun starts to go down, we'll have a great entertaining football game.
Nice. Now, any rules maybe fans should be aware of before going to the games? I'm assuming the standard 4 periods, all that good stuff. What can we expect as far as rules are concerned?
We're going to play NFL rules, and we
Okay.
want to develop these guys for the NFL. We're doing the same thing with our officials. I'm kind of in charge of recruiting those guys and lining up the mechanism that's going to over the supervisor. So we want to do the same thing with the officials. This is a training ground for the NFL.
Mm.
So the rules will be the NFL rules.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, because a lot of fans coming into new leagues, they expect new
Right.
rules. It really, XFL and USFL was always something different. Okay, this
But
that.
yeah, there was always
Yeah,
something a gimmick, and
yeah,
that sort of thing. But our gimmick is going to be that we're actually in the community saying, "Come to the games."
yeah.
Do a lot
Exactly.
of
Yeah,
community outreach.
yeah, exactly. And no, and we get heads up. Obviously, I mean, you're well aware of. This is actually a Spurs show, but that is very big key. That's huge. Spurs are very good about
Yes.
community outreach, and if the San Antonio team does the same, when it will, as coach you mentioned, that will attract so much fans to the games and whatnot. And you see that San Antonio, outside of basketball, is thirsty for football. Several teams, have come and gone. The old commanders,
Right.
packed the dome, and then unfortunately things happened and it disbanded. But what does that say to you about San Antonio being thirsty for football, and you guys are going to add to that, quench that thirst?
My mom and daddy went to Brackenridge High School in the 40s. My mom
Yeah.
was one of the first cheerleaders to cheer in Alamo Stadium. And
Wow.
when I came along later at about 6, they started taking me to the games, and that's when I decided I wanted to be involved in football the rest of my life.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's a wonderful place to do it. And I'm just so thrilled that I get to do it here at this point in my career.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's a great community feeling, but I think you have to really work at the outreach, and we're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Now one of the authors that brought the air raid system off to pro football. Can we expect a little of that injected into the San Antonio team?
Well, Jeff, it's about all I know how to coach, so it's going to be all iterate. It's been fun putting all that together. My late great friend Mike Leach and I were a 10-year collaboration doing it at several places,
Mhm.
and the I've been able to do it in several of these leagues, and I know it works. And I think the NFL's figuring out that it works.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna lean that way. The other thing I didn't mention that we want to do, besides having some international players, we're going to focus on having local players.
Oh, great.
So
Great.
every franchise, and right now we're scheduled to have Montgomery, Alabama, Tampa, Florida,
Mhm.
Dallas, San Antonio, Chihuahua, and Guadalajara. That's for the first season.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
every franchise is going to focus on having a good part of their roster being guys from the local area that get a chance.
Are you seeing the kind of a bigger global interest in American style football? You mentioned the two teams that are going to be coming from Mexico.
Yeah.
The NFL takes games overseas to Europe. You expect it to be growing faster as the years continue?
Oh yeah, and I've been over there to Europe, and I've been to Mexico, and doing clinics and camps and stuff like that a number of times. And there's always interest. It always shocks me at how many people show up to hear a lecture,
Wow.
and there is a great interest, and that's why the NFL's doing that.
Hmm.
And, if the NFL's got about 100 million fans here in the States. They got about an equal number in Mexico.
Yeah.
And in England. I don't know the figures in England, but it's a huge amount.
Yeah.
And that's why they've started moving those games over there. And there's a great interest and a great need to participate by the young people over there in Europe and in not just Mexico, but all of Central and South America.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen NFL games that are played in I think England a couple times, and
Right.
you see the stadiums just packed. I think a game like preseason games, I believe Dallas Cowboys go to Mexico. That stadium is sold out.
Right.
So yeah, the interest is there, and it's great to bring in Mexico, a couple teams from there. San Antonio, that huge connection between the city and the country of Mexico. The Spurs, they played a game in Mexico last season, so it is there. That interest from right below the border to here, in whether it be football, NFL, basketball, it's there, and you guys are definitely tapping into it. Hey, but fans can already get involved right now. I believe you're leaving it up to San Antonio to pick the name of the new team.
Yes, our owner Steve Foey was at the press conference on Thursday, and he announced that he's going to put out several choices, and then let the fans vote on it. And it's been an interesting process, having observed them, narrowing it down to what to put out there. But there'll probably be 4 or 5 choices, and we'll
Nice.
let the fans vote on it. There'll be an online way to vote here coming out shortly, probably sometime this week.
Why not just call it the San Antonio Air Raid? That just makes sense to me.
You're not the first. You're not the first person to say that. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
people say that. So we'll see. I don't want to presume that it's Steve's team, but
Yeah.
Steve is great. He's a great guy. He's a veteran. He's served in the military, and he's in the oil and gas business now in Texas. And he wants it to be a community team. He said, I'm not the owner, the community's the owner. So
Yeah.
we'll see what he comes up with in terms of releasing the potential names here.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's just so much fun, get the fans involved. I think that's the perfect way to do that. Is to let them have, it makes the fans feel like they have a piece of the team. It belongs to them. We named him. It's our new baby. We named our new baby. That'll be playing out in the corner word soon. Once again, we're talking with Coach Hal Mumme. He is the new head coach of the San Antonio team, part of the IFA Football League, and it's starting up soon. Yeah, what do we have a day on opening day or yet?
Yeah, it's going to be June next summer. Not in June 7th is the opening game, and it'll be in San Antonio. And then we'll have 4 more dates that run through. I think the last one's August the 2nd.
Okay.
And so we'll have 5 home dates, and then we'll have 5 away dates. So it's for these guys, it's a great summer job where they get that one more chance, or to show off what they can do, and hopefully get into the NFL.
Yeah.
My last team that I mentioned that won the championship, we got our quarterback on the Chicago Bears. So
Nice.
we're hopeful that we can bring in some talent that fans can look at them, and then 3 or 4 years later, they can, when they're playing in the NFL, they can say, "I saw that guy when he was developing."
Yeah, exactly. And and just in San Antonio's own backyard, UTSA is pumping out great
Oh,
talent. Yeah.
well, yeah, and Incarnate Word's got great teams,
Yep.
and
Incarnate
Texas
Word. Yep.
Lutheran has had a lot of success. Trinity has had a lot of success. So there's plenty of school, young men coming out of college around the area that we can look at, and we'll always give first choice to those guys in terms
Absolutely.
of getting into camp.
And just to be clear, you said June 7th of 2025, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
2025.
Got it. Again, for more information, everybody, make sure to go on X social media. You see it on your screen right below Coach's name at the IFA Football. Go there, follow them right now. They're a great follow. By the way, you talk about interacting with fans. That social media account is very interactive with fans. They are interacting. That is awesome to see, and fans enjoy that. Coach, I know you're a busy man, so I won't keep you on too much longer. But I got to ask your questions about, longevity and coaching. You brought that up right now. You coached this place and this. You've seen this guy become a quarterback. And Air Ray, you've been in the business for a long time. But another coach in San Antonio, Gregg Popovich, has been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Can you talk about longevity when it comes to you and Coach Pop? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's kind of a way of life, and Greg is great. Obviously a great basketball coach, but he's also a great person, and he's been able to win over the fans in San Antonio and stay there for a long time, and that's a pretty admirable deal in our business. You don't see that a lot, but I think that's part of it. It's not just the coaching or the player selection, all that. There's other things that go into it, and Coach Pop has certainly done that.
Yeah, exactly. And just by talking with you right now, I can tell like you're also, going to be a coach looking at development, because this is developmental league, and that's one thing that Pop is big on is player development. Making them be the best person they can be on and off the court or on and off the field. And Coach, I'm pretty sure you're going to be doing the exact same thing. Coach, before I let you go, any words to not just Spurs fans, but just all of San Antonio, anybody that's listening to this show, why they should go check out the San Antonio team, be all about the IFA?
Well, the IFA is going to be an entertaining league. We've got some good TV packages. People can watch when we have away games. We'll be on the Azteca for the Spanish speaking population. It's going to be an entertaining game, and as I said before, and you were emphasizing it's a developmental league, so it's fun to watch these guys that are 22, 23, 24, 25 years old get their shot, and then hopefully move on to a bigger and better career. But it's such a short window for them. The developmental part, as you were alluding to with Coach Pop, it really has to be done well, and it has to be done in a pretty concise manner, because they don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot. Game reps are really important, and they don't get a lot of them at 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and again, that's where the IFA comes in. They'll fill that gap. They'll help these young men move forward in their career and everything. But I'm glad the league is gonna keep it simple. NFL rules, I think that was the perfect way to go. No gimmicks, no nothing.
Yeah.
Just fans, are accustomed to that. Let's just keep on going forward with that. And by the way, just a quick question: the jersey color, they are the red, white, and blue. Or
we haven't decided that yet. They're gonna let the fans pick the name, and then Steve Foey and his crew will figure out what colors we're going to use. That's just kind of a banner for right now.
Okay, yeah, I was just wanted to get that clear. I thought, okay, well, they got the team color, and to me, it made sense because San Antonio military city, made sense to me. USA color.
It's not, but I'm not doing that. But I know there's I've heard several choices kicked around, and there's some pretty cool things being talked about. It's going to depend on what the mascot is.
I'm telling you, air raid. It's there. It's right there. Just
Hey, I'm
go
a
with
push
it.
down for that, Jeff.
That if it's on the selections,
boat.
yeah, I'm clicking that. It just makes sense. It just makes
Well,
with
you
so
got the great
many,
air bases there, and you got the great history in San Antonio
right?
of flying aces and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I remember growing up on the south side of San Antonio back at the old Kelly Air Force Base,
yeah,
and seeing the planes and the jets just doing their practice maneuvers and everything. So
yeah.
San Antonio, if air raid is on the list, pick it, please. It just makes sense. Yeah, and then they got Coach Hal Mumme who helped create the air raid. It's all coming together, everybody. Coach, once again, I thank you for taking time out to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Sure, it's an NBA show, but we also like to touch base on the other local sports that are going on here, leagues. We cannot wait for the start of San Antonio's IFA team. Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you for stopping here on Locked On Spurs.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You have a great day.